Very recently, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, that is His Excellency William Ruto, nominated his first cabinet. Now, for the men and women charged, or rather to be charged with executing such a task, how best can they go about it so that every Kenyan at the end of the day not just enjoys some very average life, but also have the best in terms of welfare, and not just about taxpayers, but every Kenyan at it. My name is Richard Mwanje. Such a pleasure to have you on yet another exciting and insightful edition of Business Glide, a show that we always say we hope will have an impact on the future of Kenya's resource governance in the fullness of time. And with me, as usual, is none other than the firebrand himself, this gentleman who literally dons the pink color more than his granddaughter, Herman Manyora. What is it with the pink all the time? Where did it originate from? No, the love for pink?
No, it's okay. Just color. I'm colorblind. This is pink? I don't know.
And this peach, do you know this one?
I didn't know. I don't know colors.
But it's a good shirt, you say?
Thank you.
All right, no worries, sir. Let's delve into Ruto's first cabinet, of course, the one that has been nominated. Therein lies critical obligations, or rather responsibilities that these people have to deliver to every Kenyan. Let's start with the issue actually causing a bit of uproar among Kenyans, that is the agricultural sector. We have seen the drought being declared a crisis yet again, year in, year out. Today, as we speak, or rather a few days back, we've seen a lift on GMO products, genetically modified organisms in there. Now, we as a country are trying to address drought. We are trying to ramp up our food production and also cheapen the cost of food. But there again, there lies the argument of just how safe these foods could be. In the fullness of time, do you think that this is a step towards the right direction in addressing drought and food production, etc.?
I am not a scientist, but I am intelligent enough to know and informed enough to know. People approach this GMO with a lot of caution. I also do know that where they have been tried, they have left destruction.
Biodiversity?
Missed biodiversity. And caused more havoc, more problems than brought solutions. I also know something else. The people who are well advanced in science, the developed world, are moving more into organic farming than GMO farming. People don't embrace GMO. I would be happier if people in the first world were the ones embracing. So with the little I know, therefore, I'm really surprised that the president can move with this kind of speed to bring on board GMOs, if that's what... I have not quite read well, but I think...
But then again,
that's the thing doing the rounds.
The country's financial position is a little bit dilapidated. And if you're looking at importing such GMO foods, they come at an affordable fee. Don't you see that that's a leeway at least to addressing the financial constraint space Kenya is in?
Do you want to feed your people with poison just because they are hungry? Why can't they even die from hunger than die from poison?
Aside with the GMO issue, we've seen Linturi, should he be vetted by Parliament and he gets the nod, the green light, he will become the agricultural CS. But therein, already we are having issues with the subsidized fertilizer. If you go to the National Cereals and Produce Board depots, we are seeing long queues, but Kenyans are coming forward saying it's only the cartels who are getting access to the little subsidized fertilizer.
But when Munya came up with fertilizer, they were asking, where is it? So even people asking, where is it?
Until when? Are these public relation gimmicks still meant to benefit a few people?
These are populist moves.
But these are hustler administration.
These are populist moves from the hustlers administration. And the hustler has been forgotten already. What I'm trying to say is this. William Samoei Ruto is the president of the Republic of Kenya. He's not on the campaign trail. He must stop populist moves. He must begin running the country. Even if you wanted to do this, the things cabinet was approving urgently. Where was the urgency? Why you have nominated your cabinet? Why can't you let cabinet be formed? Let them be vetted. Task them with this responsibility of these sensitive matters of GMO and the rest. Therefore, you are in a hurry to do certain things that may in the long run prove to be very dangerous to the country. Secondly, on matters of things like fertilizer, that's being populist. The problem that bedevil agriculture cannot be solved by 1.4 million bags of fertilizer, which is supposed to be 3.5 million, and it's cheaper. If you gave me money, I'll bring you cheaper fertilizer, landed, without subsidy, cheaper than 3.5 million.
Come on.
Cheaper than 3,500.
Are you trying to say that?
I've looked at the international price of fertilizer, I know. Let anybody challenge me. Let the minister in charge of, or even the president, let him come and challenge me.
There are professors in the agricultural docket who have advised the president
I
of that.
am telling you, you go on the internet. Just say, pretend you want to import fertilizer. Come on, after this show, do it now. Let's start with you today. Now, we say we want to import fertilizer. We check the prices of fertilizer and the types of fertilizer and see what came to Kenya. Because even what came to Kenya from Morocco, and we can get it on the internet now. And circumstances under which it came.
Are you trying to say Kenyans are perishing because of lack of knowledge?
Yeah.
That these things are there, but they cannot afford it?
Populism, believing politicians who are definitely not telling the truth, being populist. The president must stop being populist. The issue facing Kenyans in the area of food are too serious to be played around with through populist moves. Or fertilizers cannot even satisfy us in Gishu County alone.
Yet we still have Garissa waiting for arable land to be irrigated.
It's a joke. This country must stop joking.
Let's move on swiftly and look at this government that is for Shiro Ruiru. It promised so much things to the Mama Mboga.
Yes.
We've seen a docket being there created, the cooperatives docket. Yes. It will actually be handed over to Chelugui should Parliament give him the green light. Therein, we'll see 250 billion being pumped. But if you look at the history of Kenya, we've seen billions being pumped at the lower cadre of this particular sector. Walk through Kibera today, you'll see 100,000 Kenyans living and actually getting minimal from what they're trying to engage as economic activities. For Chelugui, who will be tasked with transforming the lives of the hustlers who are promised plenty. Do you think the 250 billion will actually deliver that land of honey and milk for them?
You know, everything you want to solve, you must first understand it. You must to identify the problem, understand the problem, and look for solutions that can work. So far, I've not seen an understanding from the side of the government. Now, it's called government. It was Kenya Kwanza. I have not seen an understanding, including the hustler business. When you say you want to give money to hustlers, the hustler fund, and David Ndei, my friend, and he's saying there are 10 million there, down there in the pyramid. Who tells you all of them can be businessmen? Then you don't understand. Is it true that all the 10 million people down there can be businessmen and women? Not everybody can be a businessman. Not everybody has failed to succeed in business because they didn't have money. There are people there. You have a brother because he didn't pass exams, he's not employed. Unamwanzia biashara 50,000 anaangusha. Unamuongeza 50 ingine anaangusha. Anasema, but if you made it to 50,000, now I can do, now I know. Unampa anaangusha.
Business education.
So it's not always that people can't fail to do business because of resources. You get it? And not everybody can do business. Let me give you another good example to show that this hustler nation people, hustler government, they don't understand these things. Let's say you want to help border people. I saw even at home, they really voted for Ruto. Hustler!
Serikali ya border.
Yeah. It's good. Those motorcycles they drive or they ride, they are not theirs. They belong to
bosses,
petty bourgeois, teachers and the rest. So if you want to help them, where do you start? You give them motorcycles. They will sell all of them. Please, Richard, if you give people fertilizer, there is no guarantee they will take it to the farm so that, as Ruto puts it, we can improve productivity. If you give a farmer 10 bags of fertilizer because he needs to put 2 bags per acre and he has 5 acres, and the yield will be good, and he has slept hungry for 3 days, he will sell 2 bags to buy food. Then he will sell another 3 bags to send a child back to school who has been chased away. Now, by the way, if you go to the village, children are leaving school every other day. They are being chased for this, 30 shillings, 5 shillings. So, finally, if the farmer really tries, you give them 10 bags and they have 5 acres and therefore 2 bags per acre, and that will be good yield. If he has really tried, he will use 5 bags, which means 1 per acre. Others will barely use 2. Others will use even nothing. So they have 4. I have not seen an understanding from the government of the problems Kenyans have. So I'm not even expecting solutions. So even that cooperative movement, Chelgui is a very good man, a friend of mine. Maybe he doesn't even half understand the problem with the cooperative movement in this country. We started so well. We were cited as a good example globally. Where did we go wrong? Does the government know how the cooperative movement failed? Because, Richard, when people are being tribalists and blaming Moi, they are just being Kikuyus, blaming Moi. Moi has killed our coffee. Moi has done our... When did Moi leave the president? Please, help me to count. When did Moi leave?
2002.
How many years are those?
20 years later.
Is Moi still messing the Kikuyu coffee? Is the Kikuyu coffee doing well?
More dilapidated.
Is the cooperative movement doing well? So unless you understand these things, you'll just engage in populist things.
But then again, if we are looking at transforming the lives of these hustlers, specifically 75% of them are employed in the artisanal industry, the Jua Kali sector.
Yes.
You are quite abreast with matters with public relations in there.
Yeah.
Don't you think it will be a better conduit for them, let's say, to leverage on our international links and deliver cheaper machinery, or rather affordable machinery, in partnership with people like China, so that even our Jua Kali can boast of modern working environment and even machinery?
That will be born out of a clear understanding of the problem.
Which you say they lack?
Yeah. Of people also whose task as a minister is not to make money for yourself.
Come on.
Your task is to transform the sector or the subsector. And the president must give you a free hand. Through cabinet, of course. Because your policies will have to be, you have to sell them to cabinet. I'm not seeing that happening.
Susan Nakumicha has been nominated for the health doctor.
Yes.
We are grappling with the issue of just Ebola being a border away in Uganda and a few other countries around us. We've been there before, faced with a pandemic, that is the COVID-19. You've seen our response measures towards it.
Yes.
Therein, under COVID came the COVID-19, the KEMSA scandal in there, the COVID billionaires. Ebola could actually slip and get into our borders. This time rounds, should actually Nakumicha get into that post? How best can we prepare as a nation to face pandemics and also account for any single money or other donations toward the health sector? We are seeing facilities lying idle. Even the Linda Mama clinics are not quite performing as they should have been, and other issues in there, as accessing cheaper medicine and affordable healthcare. How best can we address that?
You know, we must first of all say we want, that we actually want to move the country forward in all sectors and subsectors, including health. That's where we must start. Secondly, we must be serious about it. If we want to move the country forward, if we are serious about doing it, then we shall get the right men and women to do it. Beginning with ministers and all the other experts. They will be the right people. And we shall be serious in our approach. If it is health, we shall ask ourselves, what is the challenge? What are the challenges we face? How can a country that enjoyed reasonable health care at independence be where we are today? Granted, the population has gone high. When I was a young man, you walked to a public health facility, you left there, you have been treated. There were no private clinics that have mushroomed everywhere. My challenge to the government would be, to the minister, if we have a minister, and if that minister has been given the go-ahead, you can be given a job, but nobody intended you to do the job. They just want you to be a conduit for corruption. So you can't even blame some ministers or some directors or a PS. But assuming the president is serious about transforming, say, the health sector, and you are the best person, and you have been given the free hand to run your ministry with the support of the president and cabinet and Kenyans, I want to ask the minister. I think she's a young woman. I don't know her very well. I think she looks young. If you are to give birth, can you go and give birth in a public hospital? That's what I want to hear. It's a simple question.
No more trips to India.
Yeah. If Ruto'S daughter-in-law wanted to give birth, can she go to a public hospital? Can the minister send their child to a public hospital for treatment? Hakuna maswali mingi ya kuulizana. Ni ya nini maswali mingi? If I am the president of the Republic of Kenya, or a minister in charge of health, and I've been given a green hand, in 5 years, 5 short years, all the clinics will close because nobody will come to your clinic.
What is this?
Nobody will ask you to close it, but there will be nobody in your clinic. How? How will people come to your clinic when there are free health facilities? So it's not, these things are not as simple as we are being told.
We have always pumped billions of Kenya shillings to the health docket.
Yes.
But then again,
We pump there so that we follow them to go and eat. Nobody has put money in health to serve Kenyans. They have put money in health to follow the same money and eat it.
Is that why now every other day you'll find them going to India? How hard is it
Yes.
for us to bring India to Kenya?
In fact, what we have in this country, in terms of resources, human resource, and even facilities, and the state of science and research in this country, Cambridge and what have you at our universities. If I was a minister for just 1 year, people from India will be coming here for treatment.
Not us going there, fundraising and all that stuff around this.
So one, do we have a person at State House with a will? Number one. Number two, will he give the minister a free hand to run? If the answer is yes, we begin by dissolving NHIF because it's a fraud.
We wait to see. We'll invite the CEO very soon here to the show. We have seen Florence Bore being nominated for the Labour docket. Today, as we speak, sir, it's quite a sudden event. In Moisbridge, there is a family mourning the death of their daughter, Wangui, yes, just a neighbor from my, next to my home.
Pole.
A domestic worker in Cairo, Egypt, killed by the boss's son. The family is taking in the daughter in a coffin. We have seen many Kenyans going to Gulf states, going to Arabian states, and several parts of the world in search for greener pastures. The Treasury recently actually brought forth, how much we've ramped up our diaspora remittances. They've actually increased, and the government is really happy about it. For now, Florence Bore, who is looking at also ramping up the fortunes of the labor migration industry in partnership with Alfred Mutua, the Foreign Affairs CS nominee. How best can they address in terms of not only safeguarding employment for Kenyan citizens, but also not sacrificing the Kenyans at the altar of a few diaspora remittances?
Only one way. Stop. No Kenyans should go to the Gulf states.
Come on.
Because how do you take Kenyans into slavery?
They better die unemployed in Kenya.
People can even pay to go because they don't understand. What is leadership for? Leaders understand things on behalf of the led. You make decisions that are tough, that can even be unpopular, that can send you as a government home, but you are doing in the interest of the people. The young men and women who want to go to Saudi do not understand what they are walking into. But they also, much more seriously, are leading us into being the laughing stock of the world. Kenya is willingly taking its citizen into slavery. A young man akisikia salary at 25,000 anafikiri ni pesa mingi. And they get there, they go. So there's only one thing. Stop exporting Kenyans into slavery in Saudi and other Gulf states. It's not something you can recalibrate and make better. No, it's something you put a stop to.
How about
having done that, because I know what you want to say about remittance and money, having human dignity is better than money. You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
After having stopped people going to the Gulf states, now call intelligent men and women, sit down with them. Let us discuss how we can export labor. This country can export millions of people to do dignified jobs outside. There are people in this world dying to have nurses, to do a decent professional job of nursing for a decent pay, under decent conditions, like human beings. Like you are a nurse, to give you an example. You go to America, you get a job, you can afford a 3-bedroom house, your papers are okay so that nobody's running after you as a person, an illegal alien without migration. You have proper migration status, you have a 3-bedroom house.
And a formal contract.
Your children can be taken to school, you have a formal contract, your husband will follow you or your wife will follow you. Those kind of jobs exist in their millions in this world. There are people in Southern Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zambia, who want electricians. And this country can enter into agreements with them. In many parts of the world, where we take skilled people who are treated like human beings. You get it? But not to send our children into modern day slavery. in Saudi and the rest of those places. That is bad.
Just so to
People are
address-
laughing at us. How are Kenya, when they see people like Ruto and the rest in ties, they say these are useless people. How can you send your own people into slavery? We must stop that. While at the same time organizing skilled and semi-skilled labor for export under decent arrangements so that Kenyans will even be our good ambassadors there. You get it? And it can be done. I know of many countries that can do with the nurses, teachers, professional teachers, artisans, plumbers, masons, electricians. They are needed across the world for decent pay, under decent contracts. That is what the Minister of Labor ought to go into.
I see.
And not this importing people into slavery, exporting people into slavery. That must stop.
For the billions.
For the dignity of this country. They look at you as with a tie. They say, that's a win president or in Jigani. These are the people wanakuja hapo wanafanya hivyo and you call yourself a president or a minister in Mutua with a tie.
And a heavy delegation.
These are foolish people. People call you foolish. They may not tell you because they're also exploiting you in other ways. They are benefiting. But they know you are foolish. How can you send your citizens into slavery? The people going there don't understand. You can't blame them. When they hear 30,000 shillings, they think it's a lot of money. They are willing to take any risk. You can't stop. There's a girl who used to clean for me. She came so excited. She was going to Saudi. I told her, please, where are you going to? I just hope nothing bad happens to her. She's still there.
I see.
I tried to tell her, please. Where are you going? Don't. She was so excited. I can understand it. And that's why the president and the team and those of us who have had the benefit of education and are leaders in our own right should try our best to educate our people that you are going into slavery, don't go there. But the government has a responsibility to ensure no Kenyan takes a flight to go to Saudi.
For that family, just as we wrap up, as a senior citizen and also as a parent, that family in Moisbridge today, it's crying. For that family, what would you say to them?
My sympathies to the family. I understand. I feel for them. I condole with them. I know parents should be buried by their children. I know the other way around. I know the pain of burying a young man. So for that parent, those parents in the family in Moisbridge, my heart goes out to you, and nobody should blame you, because like I've said, the temptation, and because we have allowed poverty to dominate this country, Kenyans are willing to plunge into the sea of death. You can't blame them. Because we have created hopelessness, because we have let unemployment soar to levels where it is today, I can never blame anybody's child if they go to Saudi. And even if they will come in a coffin, I'll still understand. I'll try my best to tell people don't go, but I'm powerless, because when they hear 30,000 shillings, they think a lot of money. And there is despair all around them. They think they will build a house for their parents. They will take siblings to school, and some of them actually do. But the responsibility of government to save Kenyans from what our children are going through in the Gulf states. The truth is, very few people across the world respect Africans.
I see. Such a noble concern from the elder himself and the wise man Herman Manyora. But as is the norm here on Business Glide, before we leave, we go to our fan of the week. And today is none other than this lady, fellow economist, and such a brilliant mind at the Kenya Revenue Authority. She's your top fan. She says all the time you go attacking KRA, but she says, regardless of your criticism, she is there to stay and she'll make you proud. She's called Hilda Odanga.
Hilda Odanga, I think I've heard of that name.
Yes.
Thank you for joining the family. Thank you for being part of us. But be informed that we do not criticize KRA. We only say they should invite me for 2 hours. Only 2 hours. I met a very senior officer in Mombasa in a workshop I was attending. They're also giving a talk. Invite me for 2 hours. I'll show them how to generate 2 shillings on top of every 1 shilling they generate today. That's not criticism. I'm being a good Kenyan. I'll just tell them, this is how you raise revenue. This is how you raise revenue. And nobody will complain. People's taxes will go lower, but you will collect more. If there's any criticism, it must be extremely positive criticism.
And by the way,
thank you so much.
Hilda Odanga, by the way, was your student at your end.
Oh, she was my student.
A student leader, by the way.
That she knows I'm a good person. Anybody I've taught know I'm a good person.
She'll visit us soon. Until next time on Business Glide, my name is Richard Mwenje. Such a pleasure to have you on board. As always, up next on your screen is the Business Glide African Proverb of the Day.